Hello Paul's Care Team and welcome to Cancer Update number 126. My shirt today is an octopus. That's just because I think they're an amazing, intelligent animal and I think it's a pretty cool shirt. So that's why I got it. So today's video is going to be mainly asking questions, and either tomorrow or Monday, so today is Sunday, so either tomorrow being Monday or on Tuesday, I'm going to have a lot of answers. So I thought it might be fun for you to share with me the unknown, because at the moment I've got the questions but not the answers. So here's a list of things going on in my life since we last spoke. Firstly, chassis 21, that was the one that I took out to my friend's scrapyard. That has now been marked for scrap, so that is going to be crushed in the first half of this coming week. So that episode is now over. I did have fun. I did make a couple $100, but importantly, I got out of the house and I challenged myself mentally and physically to actually do something approximating work. And I had fun doing it, which was great, and so did Caroline. What we're doing at the moment is Caroline's dad is selling his Camry, and he's given it to Caroline and I to sell. And it's got one little problem with it, which is the center console has got a crack in it. Actually, there you go. That's a picture of it cracked there. And it turns out it's a really common fault on the 40 series Camrys. So I'm either going to solve it by replacing it or repairing the old one. I don't know yet. We'll find out in the next few days, and I will make a video out of it. Oh, and if you live in Perth, and you are interested in what is actually a really good Camry, just get in contact with me. It's wingman@wingmanwilcox.com. Yeah. So it's Wilcox with 1 L, 2 X's. Okay, the next bit of news is I've had a decent nibble on a job back at the health department. So it hasn't been finalised yet, hasn't been approved. However, the requirement of a person and the scope of what that person needs to do has been arrived at, and I certainly could do the job that they're describing. So maybe I get a job, which is great, because if you remember way back when I was in a bit of a panic for money and I was thinking I might have to go on disability support pension or something like that, it didn't sit well with me, because I just don't want to. Partly it's pride. I don't want to be on disability support pension because I don't want to think of myself as being disabled, even though I am to some degree, and I'm certainly a bit disadvantaged in the workplace, having a stoma. But my first preference is to get a job rather than be on a pension. So I have now reopened a superannuation account, because if you remember, when I was declared terminal, I was given a superannuation payout, and part of that was they paid me everything and they closed my account. So I've reopened a superannuation account, and I might get a job at health. So we'll see. All right, on the health front, I've got a new set of tumour numbers. So I'll just pop those up on the screen for you, and I'll bring them up on my screen so that I can talk you through them. So this was from some blood given on the June 17, 2024. My CEA was 30 on that day, and my CA19-9 was 1,300. So as you can see, both those numbers have dropped from the reading on May 2, and very much dropped from that March 18 reading, which increasingly is looking like it may have been either just a bad day for me or maybe actually a calibration issue at the lab. Because if you take out that March 18 number, the set of numbers are a lot more, in a common range. So anyway, the CEA of 30, well, normally is less than 2.5. So obviously that is high and suggests that something is going on there. And my CA19-9 of 1,300, it's meant to be under 37. So that's obviously very much elevated as well. Again, pointing to cancer. So that's fine. Now, you would remember on the 11th of June, I went and had a CT scan, and I haven't told you the results except that they found a mass near my bladder. In the meantime, what's happened is I now have an electronic copy of the report and the medical imaging. So I'm going to take you through those and yeah, let's talk it through. Okay, so it starts out, and I'll position myself high on the screen so I can put it down the bottom of the screen. So CT chest, abdo, pelvis with IV contrast. Clinical history is a peritonectomy and right hemicolectomy for appendix mucinous adenocarcinoma, query progression. I note the history of a peritonectomy and HIPEC in October 2023. The technique is IV contrast, enhanced CT scan of the chest, abdomen and pelvis. The findings in the chest, the right infusor port tip is in the superior vena cava and is unchanged. So that's this implant I've got here. So that's got a tube that comes out of it. It goes up and around and down into the top of my heart in the superior vena cava. So what they're saying there is the tube is still, I can still see the tube and it's in the right place. So there's no problems there. There is a persistent subsegmental left lower lobe collapse. No new pulmonary nodule or mass. Now, this is a follow-on from what happened after my surgery in Sydney, and I now understand it a lot better. I was on the operating table, or at least I was unconscious and under the effects of anaesthetic for 13 and a half hours. And what happens in that time is your breathing is really shallow, and it's very, very common, and even to be expected, that after 13 and a half hours of very shallow breathing, that the bases of your lungs actually slightly collapse and they come up, which is why after really heavy operations, they give you I think it's called a spirograph. It's a plastic implement where you have to breathe out as hard as you can and breathe out completely to encourage you to fully inflate and fully deflate your lungs. If you remember, 3 days after my operation, I had 2 collapsed lungs and a pulmonary embolism. So with all of that going on, I didn't do nearly enough exercises. And what this here is saying is even 8 months after the surgery, they can still see that my right lung looks fine, but my left lung, they can actually still see some imperfectly correct collapse. Now, I don't know how to, I can't identify it on the imaging. So what I've done is I've taken 3 images that I think may cover it. So I'll just position myself over here. This is the first image, and I've put a green arrow to show what the problem might be. And remember, with images, my left-hand lung is going to be the right-hand one that you're looking at. So that's image 1. This is image 2. And you can see there's some funny stuff maybe going on in the base of that lung. And here's image 3. Now, I don't know whether that is the collapsed lung or not, but it's the only sort of part of the image I can see that's a little bit odd. It's certainly not very collapsed, but that's the report says it is collapsed. If you're a radiologist and you're watching this, could you please comment below and just say what's going on? Like, is that it? You know, basically. Right, so back to the findings. No thoracic, supraclavicular or axillary lymphadenopathy. Stable sub-centimetre right pericardial fat pad lymph nodes. No pleural or pericardial effusion. No central pulmonary embolus. So basically, the rest of my chest looks pretty fine. Like my heart looks good, which is obviously great news. Right, next bit, onto the abdomen and pelvis. A prior anterior resection, right hemicolectomy and peritonectomy noted with multiple abdominal surgical clips and left-sided colostomy. Unremarkable appearance of the bowel resection sites and anastomoses. Now, some of you aren't going to know what anastomosis is, and we do love our etymology. So here on the screen, this is what anastomosis is. So in anatomy, it is a union or intercommunication of the vessels of one system with those of another. And it's medical Latin from Greek, the Greek anastomosis, meaning outlet or opening, from anastomoen, to open or discharge, as in the one C discharging into another C, or to furnish by mouth from ana again or anew. See ana plus stoma, meaning mouth. So there you go. If you've ever wondered why your stomach is called your stomach, it's because you get to it through your mouth. So there you go. And also my stoma that I have down here, that is basically the mouth of my intestines coming out. So there you go. Right, now back to the report. New irregular, low-density structure in the pelvis indenting the bladder dome anteriorly, measuring 54 millimetres. So that's a little bit over 2 inches for those of you that use inches. Multiple additional unencapsulated low-density deposits are present throughout the small bowel mesentery in both flanks and left iliac fossa adjacent to the small bowel. See key images. Previously seen deposits in the left anterior pararenal space and central small bowel mesentery are stable. Now I've taken copies of those images from my medical imaging. So here you go. So these are some of those little. Well, firstly, this is my pelvis. So you can see there is basically this thing indenting at the front of my pelvis, and we don't know what it is, but we know it shouldn't be there. And we've got some other low density things that appear to be attached to the small bowel mesentery, which are very much consistent with the mucinous tumours of pseudomyxoma peritonei. So they may well be recurrences. I do have the slow growing form of the disease, thankfully. So as long as we address them, I'm not in imminent risk of passing from it. Reading on, a short section of the jejunum, so jejunum is part of the small bowel, in the left upper quadrant is fluid filled and distended. The bilobed fluid density structure in the left lower abdomen on the prior CT is no longer present, possibly representing a resolved small bowel dilation. Now, if you remember, I had a CT scan back in March that had this mass in it. And what they're saying here is, yeah, we can see the mass on the prior study, can't see it now. Whatever it is, it's gone, which means it almost definitely wasn't a tumour. It may well just be that a bit of small bowel had just got enlarged, either full of gas, probably full of gas, but possibly full of food, and it's now resolved. Now, part of me is hoping that this new 54 millimetre thing they've found is another one of them. So maybe it is just full of gas or fecal matter, and by now I will have already passed it. It'll be really easy to prove that, because when we have my next CT, it either will be there or it won't. Just like this one, when we retested, it wasn't there, so we knew that it was something very passable. Reading on, the previously seen right upper pole renal cortical hypoenhancement has improved, with only a subtle residual curvilinear hyperattenuating focus. Small renal cysts bilaterally with no new renal mass. Nodular bilateral adrenal glands are stable. Multiple hypoattenuating hepatic lesions are stable. I note prior ultrasound from the 5th of May 2023 demonstrating multiple hepatic cysts. Pancreas is unremarkable. Splenectomy, cholecystectomy. So basically they've found some nodules in there. They look like they're benign, and they can see them on previous studies, and they haven't changed shape or size. So we're pretty confident they're perfectly fine. No size significant lymphadenopathy. So my lymph nodes are well sized. They're not inflamed. So I don't have like a leukemia, or what are they called? Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Lymphoma. Yeah, so lymphomas, no, not having them. And no suspicious osseous lesion. So osseous comes from the same Latin root that you get fossil or ossify or that type of thing. Osseous just means bone. So no suspicious bone lesions is what that means. Conclusion. New low density deposit within the pelvis indenting the bladder dome and throughout the small bowel mesentery since the CT of 15th of March 2024. Appearances are suspicious for mucinous deposits. Partial resolution of the right upper renal pole hypoattenuating area. In the absence of any new oncological treatment, this would suggest a benign etiology. Third, no new solid organ or pulmonary metastases. Okay, so they haven't even mentioned my lungs in the conclusion, so obviously not that phased about that lung issue. They're saying the thing on my right upper renal pole is almost certainly benign, no solid organ or pulmonary metastases. So really the only thing they're going on about in this is this new thing in my bladder and those little bits of pocket that were around in my mesentery. So what has happened is I've contacted Prof Morris over at St George Hospital in Cogra. He is going to be looking at this set of CT scans hopefully tomorrow, and he's going to ring me and tell me what he thinks. I actually spoke to him about 10 days ago. It was about 10 days ago. And I told him, that this was coming. And I also mentioned to him, look, I don't know whether I'd go to Sydney or not. And as we were talking more, I said to him, hey, just out of curiosity, do you think you could reverse my stoma if you did operate on me? And he said, oh yeah, I think that'd be fine. And I said, so I've got enough left, enough intestines left? And he said, oh yeah, you've got enough left. Which previously, when I first had the operation, they said, oh, it's really touch and go whether we could reverse it. He's now saying, yeah, definitely. There's definitely enough intestine there to do a reversal. And I said to him, look, if we're talking about throwing me back on the table and doing a reversal, I will go back to Sydney for that, because otherwise I was looking at maybe just getting it operated in Perth. But if we're going to be doing a reversal and potentially pulling out a bit more of that cancerous looking tissue, that sounds worth it. I would fly to Sydney and go through all the rigmarole of finding a place to stay and the expense and all of that. So tomorrow when we discuss it, one of the key questions is going to be, do we need to throw me back on the table? Can we reverse my stoma? And I've got to be honest, I'm excited about that, because I won't be as good as I was before I found out about all of this, but if I could go back to not having a stoma, not having a colostomy bag, going to the toilet like a normal person, it suddenly means my self-esteem and how I feel about myself in the workplace, but also how I carry myself in the workplace, is going to be not far off normal. I'll still have, I've got residual peripheral neuropathy, but it's nothing near as bad as what it was. It's certainly manageable now. And look, in short, I'm a bit excited at the prospects of getting the reversal and doing that. So just to talk you through what I'm going to do tomorrow, which is Monday, and then possibly on Tuesday. Firstly, I'm going to go and get the parts to fix up Caroline's father's Camry. Secondly, I might be buying a couple of more Recs, because I'm feeling like I want to be more active, and working on Recs makes me happy. And right now what I need to do is things that make me happy. I'll hopefully be talking to Prof Morris. I'll hopefully be talking to my Perth oncologist, because remember Prof Morris is in New South Wales, Sydney. And hopefully I'll have some news on the potential job. So that's what you've got to look forward to. So at the moment, mainly what I've got is questions, but the next video after this, hopefully I'll be giving you some answers. Now, I just want to sign off by talking to you about those of you that are on palmitoyl ethanolamide, as I am, for your peripheral neuropathy. I think if you started going on them shortly after I talked about them, I think you've now been on them for something like 6 weeks. So by now, you need to up your dose. By now, I'd hope that you're on about 600 milligrams in the morning and about 600 milligrams at night. So you need to be taking somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 milligrams per day now. And in a few weeks' time, you need to be taking nearly 1,000 in the morning and nearly 1,000 at night. And it was only 4 or 5 days after I started doing that third amount, where in my case, I was taking 300 milligram tablets. So I was doing 900 milligrams in the morning, 900 milligrams at night. I'd only been doing that for less than a week, and I went, oh, actually my feet are that is distinctly better. That is less painful than it used to be, okay? So now's the time to get your PEA intake up. So please get it up to around 600 morning and night, and in a couple of weeks, about 1,000 every morning, 1,000 every night. And then I'm hoping I'm going to start hearing you saying, Paul, for real, my peripheral neuropathy is getting better. And that is going to make me feel so good. Like, it's one thing to help someone fix their car, but it's another thing to help someone fix their pain, their physical pain. And I'm actually really excited to think that I may have been able to do that for you. So please do let me know if that turns out to be the case. Okay, so I'll sign off now. And yeah, there's going to be a follow-up video to this one where I'm going to give you some answers. So I'll talk to you soon. Look forward to talking to you soon. I'll look forward to talking to you again anyway. Okay, bye. See ya.